So on the 6th, when you return, did you have a scheduled meeting with Lindsay Clancy?
Yes.
And on this particular meeting on December 6th of 2022, do you recall if that was an in-person or a virtual visit?
It was an office visit.
Okay.
In person.
Was
right
it your
away,
practice to
we have an
speak
important
with collateral
detail. The December
individuals?
6th appointment
Yes.
was in person,
And
not
in this
virtual.
instance, did you
And
feel a
that
need to
matters
speak
because
to
the
collateral
psychiatrist
individuals
wasn't
up to
simply
this
relying
point?
on a screen. She was
Not up to this
physically
point.
observing Lindsay,
If you did, would you
conducting
have requested that of her?
assessments, and interacting with
And
both
do
Lindsay
you need her
and
express
Patrick.
permission to do that?
But there's already a documentation issue developing
So on this
here.
particular day, she
Watch how
presented
that
with her
becomes
husband,
important.
Patrick. And so just kind of looking at the note from that day, from December 6th, it says encounter date December 6th. It says filed on December 7th. In the under chief complaint history, do you have it in front of you?
Yes.
The second paragraph says patient has verbally consented to this video visit. Is that just something that sometimes pre-fills into the narrative?
Yes.
But your memory was that this was an in-person visit.
It was.
Was Lindsay Clancy there by herself or with somebody else?
She brought in her husband, Patrick.
Had you met him before?
I had not.
Had you talked to him before?
I had not.
As part of your treatment plan or your course of treatment with Lindsay Clancy, was it your practice to speak with collateral individuals?
Yes.
And in this instance, did you feel a need to speak to collateral individuals up to this point?
Not up to this point.
If you did, would you have requested that of her?
Yes.
And do you need her express permission to do that?
I do.
So on this particular day, she presented with her husband, Patrick, correct?
This is a subtle but significant point. Patrick wasn't automatically part of Lindsay's treatment just because he was her husband. The psychiatrist says she needed Lindsay's permission to speak with collateral witnesses. That means Patrick's presence could provide another perspective, but it didn't necessarily mean he was there because the doctor had specifically requested him. So the question becomes, what did his presence reveal, and did it change the doctor's assessment?
Correct.
And was there anything different about your approach to the meeting than your previous meetings with her?
No.
You still go through history, you go through how she's doing now, you do your mental status exam, you do your screenings, right?
Yes.
And so first, just let's talk quickly about the screenings. The Edinburgh screen, what was her score on this day when she came in? Do you remember?
21.
Okay. And the GAD-7, fair to say that screen was a 19.
Yes.
So would you say that it was pretty consistent with the last time that you saw her?
Objection.
What's the objection?
My objection is that that's not right. He's now got a 21 Edinburgh scale. Prior testimony was not anywhere near 21. It's deteriorated.
Well, I'm gonna allow that question. On cross-examination, you can certainly explore the basis of what her opinion was. So I'm gonna allow that question. Go ahead, Como.
Well, let me ask you about that score of 21. It's 21 out of how much?
30.
So in what range is that?
Moderate severe.
Okay. And on your previous encounter with her on, or your actual telehealth on November 29th, you reported that the score was 17, and that's moderate.
Moderate. Yep.
And then on the GAD-7, on this particular day on December 6th, it was 19, right?
Yes.
And on the previous visit, it was 14.
Yeah.
Now the numbers are getting harder to ignore. The Edinburgh score reportedly rose from 17 to 21, while the GAD-7 went from 14 to 19. Those aren't just random numbers, they're screening tools designed to quantify symptoms. But here's the key legal and medical distinction. A high screening score does not, by itself, establish a diagnosis. The testimony now has to explain what the doctor actually observed beyond those scores.
Yes.
Okay. So as far as your observations of her on December 6th, did you notice anything different about her speech and language?
No.
How about her mood? What did you note her mood to be?
Anxious.
And the affect, fair to say, consistent with mood, meaning anxious, right?
Yes.
And thought process.
Thought process was linear and goal-directed.
And thought content. Did she indicate to you whether she was experiencing any auditory or visual hallucinations?
No.
Any delusions?
No.
Any suicidal ideation, a plan, or intent?
No.
And as far as your observations of her during this interaction, this in-person visit, did you observe any signs of psychosis?
No.
Did you observe any signs of mania?
No.
Did you observe any signs of obsessive thoughts or compulsive behaviors?
No.
Now, when you met with Lindsay and Patrick on December 6th, did they report why Patrick was there?
I don't recall if they indicated why he was there. I understood it to mean he was there to provide collateral and support for her.
Were you aware that he was coming to the appointment?
I don't recall if I was aware beforehand or not.
And you had engaged in a pretty significant my chart back and forth with her in the days preceding this this meeting on December 6th, right?
Yes.
Did she ever indicate to you Did she ever indicate to you in those messages that she wished to bring him along to one of the visits?
No.
Fair to say, when a person brings a collateral and is willing to have somebody speak, you're more than happy to get that information.
Absolutely.
This person, this collateral person, can they offer you a different perspective about the patient and what they're going through or what they're, how they're presenting?
Yes.
In this December 6th meeting, or the visit, did she report to you some changes in her sleep or significant concern for sleep?
I would have to review the note. What I remember is that the sleep really hadn't improved much beyond getting a few hours, waking up in the middle of the night, maybe piecing together more time.
And fair to say, there was some conversation to go back and talk about when symptoms started and try to get to kind of the root cause or what they believe the root cause of her symptoms were.
Yes.
And did Lindsay and Patrick report to you the connection with the Zoloft medication in September as a concern?
Yes.
And that at that they reported that, or she reported, that exact night I went from 25 to 50 milligrams. I didn't sleep for 48 hours and I wasn't tired.
Correct.
So that's in your note as a quote, meaning that's directly what she told you?
Yes.
And now we reach one of the most important pieces of testimony. Lindsay reportedly described going from 25 to 50 milligrams of Zoloft, followed by 48 hours without sleep while not feeling tired. The psychiatrist says that reaction raised concern about a possible underlying bipolar spectrum condition. But notice the wording, possibility. At this stage, the doctor is describing clinical suspicion, not saying Lindsay definitively met the diagnostic criteria.
Did you express to the Clancy on this particular meeting Did you express to Ms. Clancy thoughts that you had about her diagnosis based on your interactions over the last few weeks?
I did.
And what was that?
I discussed with her and her husband the possibility of potentially an underlying bipolar disorder. I based this on several factors, one of them being that she had such what we call an activating response to the Zoloft. It's unusual for somebody to describe taking Zoloft and then going 48 hours without sleep and not being tired. So that raised my clinical suspicion a bit. And she had been, I would say, having difficulty tolerating other antidepressant medications that we had been trying to have her take since then. And so again, I'm wondering if it's because potentially there might be an underlying, what we call mood disorder, bipolar disorder.
And as far as the information that you had about her past psychiatric history, were there any indicators to you about manic episodes?
No. So I do recall in reviewing Julie's note prior to meeting with Lindsay, she filled out what we call a mood disorder questionnaire. It's like a screener somebody can do to assess history of mania and bipolar disorder. Lindsay it was a negative screen. So there's 3 questions. One question has 13 different symptoms. You have to score 7 out of 13 on question 1, but also in question 2, it asks about, are the symptoms happening at the same period of time? And then it asks about any functional impairment from the symptoms. So I recall the 3 symptoms she did endorse were not sleeping for that period of time with the Zoloft and not feeling tired, having racing thoughts, and trouble concentrating. None of the other symptoms did she endorse. They did occur at the same period of time. And I don't want to be inaccurate, so I can't remember what she said for functional impairment, but I believe it was minor impairment.
Okay, and so the fact that those were reported, but ultimately the full screen revealed negative for potential mania.
I did also consider, though, that the MDQ is less specific when it comes to bipolar 2 or bipolar not otherwise specified. There's bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. Both have mania symptoms as part of the diagnosis. Bipolar 1 is usually more severe in that it's typically, a patient might be hospitalized or it causes greater functional impairment. Bipolar 2, it's a shorter duration and typically less functional impairment.
And as far as determining diagnostically whether somebody might be presenting with bipolar disorder, is there a particular tool you use in your trade to try to assess that?
Typically something like the MDQ, and then you'll do more of an interview asking the patient about symptoms specifically and if they can ever recall a time where this may have happened in the past, because sometimes patients can't always remember when they're manic. So I was glad to actually have Patrick in the visit because he could sort of help us look at Lindsay's history more longitudinally, or at least since the time he knew her.
Here's where the testimony gets especially nuanced. The psychiatrist had evidence that raised suspicion, but the screening questionnaire was negative and the reported symptoms didn't establish bipolar disorder at that time. In other words, red flags are not the same thing as a diagnosis. And Patrick's role becomes important because collateral information can help a clinician understand behavior over a longer period, especially when the patient may not remember every episode herself. What would you have made of this evidence if you were evaluating the situation?
Okay. And as far as, so those tools that you're talking about, the MDQ and kind of screening tools that you use in practice, is there another tool that you use to assess whether a person meets particular criteria to be diagnosed with bipolar 1 or bipolar 2?
There are others, not ones that I've used.
So are you familiar with the DSM-5?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, so while that's not the end-all be-all, it is a guide that tells you specific criteria, how to determine if episodes are manic or depressive, right, when it comes to bipolar.
Yes,
The difference between mania and hypomania.
yes.
And so while you noted that there were some concerns reported, did what was reported to you rise to the level of diagnostic criteria for bipolar disorder?
Not at that time.
And when you explained this to them, your thoughts about her reactions to the medication and these reported prior symptoms, did Patrick and Lindsay seem receptive to your diagnosis?
I recall Patrick saying my wife is not bipolar. Lindsay looked at me. She did not say anything.
Okay. And was this the first time in this meeting on December 6th where you broached that issue or mentioned that?
Yes.
Did the conversation continue about symptoms and managing symptoms after that?
Yes.
Were you able to get any more specific information from Patrick during that meeting? Not what he said particularly, but did you get additional specific information that kind of helped you assess whether you would change your diagnosis at that point?
No.
And were there still concerns in that particular meeting that the focus was trouble sleeping and the potential for addiction?
Yes.